All right, so Logan Paul sued Coffeezilla, or is going to sue Coffeezilla. If you're not up to date, quick recap. Coffeezilla did a 3-part series exposing CryptoZoo as the second crypto scam that Logan Paul did. Made some pretty damning points about Logan Paul's either ignorance or compliance in the scam. Logan Paul then responded. We'll show a couple of clips here just for context. And then ended the video off by saying that he will meet Steven in court. Steven Coffeezilla, if you didn't know. Some other commentary that's been done on this, I'll just to sum up, because I'm sure you either have or don't want to watch a bunch of other videos. Essentially, the one maybe point that Logan Paul has against Coffeezilla is his manager might live in California, which is like a 2-party consent state as far as recording conversations. So if you didn't know, some states, one party has to know that there's being a recording. Sometimes both parties have to know that their audio is being recorded. If you like record a phone call, or if I do like a Discord meeting with someone and I record, there's some legality there. Oftentimes it never comes up because people don't sue each other randomly unless they want something. And of course, Logan Paul kind of wants to regain his reputation, so there is that incentive for him to seek what he believes to be justice from Coffeezilla. So let's just look at a quick clip.
Coffeezilla. I watched your 3-part series called Investigating Logan Paul's Biggest Scam, and like many on this platform, you have successfully used my name for views and money. While your work used to be impartial, your addiction to clicks has clouded your judgment, and you've made very real errors with very real repercussions.
All right, so the first point that he makes is that Coffeezilla is using his clout for his own clout. Right, he's doing the old transfer of clout. Clout is neither created nor destroyed. It can only be transferred from one entity to another. I hate this argument. That's the entire point of covering stuff. That's like saying, a news reporter who broke Watergate is just using the president's clout, right? Like, you're only reporting on Watergate because the president's popular and you want clicks. Like, that's kind of how media works. That's like telling an advertising company, like, oh, you only paid Tom Brady, $20 million to do FTX so that you could get money out of the arrangement. Like, obviously, right? I don't think this is a fantastic argument, but again, Logan Paul's audience, I don't know about now, used to be very young. Maybe he's retained some of that, but that seems like a very low bar argument. I like Logan. I feel like he had a great redemption arc. I didn't watch him when I was younger, but there's occasionally things that he has done in the past couple of years that I've been on board with. So I'm not at all biased against him. I thought it was cool that he kind of helped bring this whole content creator sphere to the mainstream with some boxing events and stuff like that. So I actually am a big fan of Logan Paul. I'm just not a huge advocate for this argument in particular.
So in this video today, I'm going to be defending myself with facts, something that you have gotten in the habit of twisting as you continue to morph from an investigator to a gossip channel. You see, Coffeezilla tried to work with law enforcement in the past, but his work was described as not anchored to truth and often speculative. He is a lopsided journalist with an agenda, and he's nothing more than the Keemstar of crypto and finance.
All right, so really quickly here, I will admit biases. I am a huge Coffeezilla fan. I really love a lot of the work he's done. And in an industry, especially covering news like this, let's backtrack. I enjoy more than, and this is not my main YouTube channel, this is the first time you've ever heard me, and you're like, oh, why is this guy talking with authority? He has 300 subscribers. This is just a passion project I'm doing hidden on the side for fun, right? I enjoy the content creation, meta bubble more than I do the actual content creation, if that makes sense, right? So I talk to a lot of my fellow creators, and I really love the advertising side of it. I love the marketing. I love the sponsorships, even though I don't do any myself. I just enjoy that whole sphere. I find it interesting. And for other YouTubers, it's very easy to look at a Twitch streamer or a YouTuber or some sort of Instagram influencer or something like that and kind of see how they structure their business and the motives behind it, right? That's anyone who's done YouTube long enough. Honestly, anyone who's done it for more than 6 months to a year can recognize this quickly. You can easily see what someone's about. And I think anyone with any insight into the industry who watches Coffeezilla knows that money and clicks and all that stuff is not what's in it for him. In stark contrast to the Graham Steffens or the Andre Jicks or, I'm not going to bash, Spencer too much, but people like that will tend to take in tons of money through these sponsorships that, even though they're not going to admit it, they know are very bad, or at least not helpful, because the money is massive. right? And that's something that Steven has never done. And knowing, talking to people with hundreds of thousands of, subscribers in that space, how big these contracts are, especially when you top 1 million subscribers, like the reach you have, what these companies are willing to pay, it's generational wealth every single time Steven says no. And I cannot accurately express to you the character it takes to turn that stuff down. Personally, I turn down all sponsorships for the same reason, but on my other channels, they're not big enough to where the money is so life-changing that I couldn't say no, right? Like if Joe Schmo Mobile Game came to me and said, we'll give you, I'm just going to throw out some numbers that are fairly accurate to like what Steven would get. We're going to give you this pay-to-win NFT game, and we're going to straight up pay you $100,000 a month to promote this for us. I'm going to be honest, I don't think I have Steven's character. So that's why I feel like defending him on this point is incredibly important, because Logan says he's a fan, but it's quite obvious that that's not his motivation.
As opposed to just telling you, I'm going to show you some of the core discrepancies that I caught in Coffeezilla's investigation. Coffee, you interviewed the developer who stole the game code, fled to Switzerland, and held it hostage for $1 million. Well, his name is Zach Kelling. Surely, as the internet detective that you proclaim to be, you would know that he spent time in prison for multiple felonies, one for aggravated robbery, armed robbery at a liquor store, and the other for, surprise, obstructing the legal process. I can see why you kept him anonymous.
Who we'll be calling Z here.
I guess among many things, it doesn't surprise me that he lied about having 30 engineers and a $50,000 a week burn rate.
On my end, I have 30 engineers. I'm burning $50,000 a week.
Which, side note, is how this delusionist landed on the $1 million code ransom, but it turns out he only had 3 engineers. Wouldn't someone with journalistic integrity know their credible source had not only an agenda, but a fondness for orange jumpsuits? Or did you just hear what you wanted to hear and moved on? Because even if you're lying to yourself, Steven, you still have to believe it. And I know what you're thinking. What type of idiot would...
All right, so I know everyone who's done a video on this has specifically jumped into it and been like, yeah, what idiot? And then listening to it and then rebuttaling it. I've obviously seen other responses plus this video multiple times. So I'm just going to point out that I will not be doing that, even though I would find it hilarious. The point he's going to make is, what kind of idiot would hire these people? And then he gives his justification that we'll play. But I'll let you listen to it. I don't think he accurately defends himself.
Would work with an unsavory individual like Zach Kelling. I guess that's what I get for trusting the team that I relied on to vet and manage Eddie's hiring process, who has turned out to be a professional con man that I have since learned fooled billionaires, the Mormon Church, the owner of the New York Yankees, and now me. And surely you knew Emilio, the gentleman who supposedly let his child invest in a cryptocurrency, was allegedly responsible for 2 rug pulls before you interviewed him. So either you missed that or you knew it and failed to let the public know. Why? Because it was a clear sign that he was also untrustworthy.
I'll give Logan a little credit here, actually, in hindsight, in some retrospective, retroactive, retro-technical, retro-steampunk way of thinking. He has got so much going on that I actually wholeheartedly believe that he had no idea what was going on with this whole thing. I would not find it hard to believe that Logan Paul kind of just put his name on it and did nothing else and let everyone else handle it, and they fucked up, but he's the one who's going to take the downfall, so he's trying to defend it outright. I'll give him that credit. As far as the people that Steven interviewed, he interviewed a bunch, but it's kind of hard to get people to say yes to something, especially like working with money. You come to figure out that when people make bad decisions with their money, it's incredibly hard to get them to admit it, right? When you talk to a client or something like that, and they've made a mistake, they've invested in something that they shouldn't have invested in, they gambled on something they shouldn't have gambled on, and you know it, any partners you have in the meeting know it, their family knows it, their friends know it, they're oftentimes the last person to admit it. And that's why these like crashed and rug pulled cryptocurrency group chats on the Discords or whatever still have loyal fans, because when you messed up that much, it's hard to admit to yourself that you messed up. And that's not just for money. I feel like money kind of, everyone says money amplifies you. I feel like money amplifies that effect. It's the same thing in real life. Like, if anyone's had a bad relationship or bad friendship, or done something that they're not necessarily proud of now, your friends were telling you that it was a mistake before you realized yourself it was a mistake. That's something that I can relate to, and I'm sure lots of you guys can relate to. I say lots of you guys. This channel is going to get 30, 40 views on this video. So hi, 30, 40 people. Let me know you're here in the comment section. But it's really hard to get these people to comment, especially non-anonymously, and be public, because it's embarrassing. It's really embarrassing. And, are the people that are going to say yes to reaching out going to be a little bit more aware of the whole situation, and might that open the door to a couple of these scammers who just kind of want to save face or just want to chase clout or just think it's fun? Yeah, possibly. But I'm not going to say that, Logan Paul deserves to sue Steven over this. I think that's a huge jump.
That he couldn't hatch the eggs.
Wait, you can't even hatch?
No, I'm telling you, it's just a picture.
You're kidding! You can't hatch?
You're kidding. You can't hatch.
You can't hatch?
Yeah, 1 second of research would
editing,
prove
Logan.
that to be false, as you can definitely hatch eggs and even breed your animals.
Click on that. Oh, we got a duck.
And as you pointed out in your fine print, cross-hatching was available on ETH at one point, but you perpetuated the opposite as truth with your chest out.
Basically, nothing worked.
And by the way, Guy, almost all NFTs
Guy.
are just pictures.
I'm telling you, it's just a picture.
And surely a real internet
One thing I did want to point out is, if you go to the first clip of Coffeezilla's video, it's Logan talking about how this isn't a project, i.e. it's not just a picture. And we're not going to get into all of the super misleading marketing that Logan did to go into this. I don't particularly care about that. But when it's marketed as a game and not just art, I feel like you can't really use that defense.
detective would not break criminal and civil laws in trying to get information, right? So why have you allowed the illegal recording of Jeff's phone call without his permission? And then more like an internet criminal, post it online.
And it was interesting. It was like, this is wild.
Now, although you didn't verify any backgrounds, substantiate any evidence, took multiple criminals' words as truth, and broke laws, you still published the defamation. However, unlike you, the blockchain doesn't lie. So let's highlight some things
Such
that
a
you
bad
did point
line.
out. Crypto
Oh my
King
God.
Jake stole $6 million. True or not, we had already removed him from the team when we realized he was a bad actor and his motives were purely financial.
I mean, in his defense, they did remove FTX or Sam Bankman-Fried as CEO when they realized he did something bad. So, you know.
Conman Eddie, lead developer, stole $1.7 million. True or not, when we learned he was a bad actor as well, he was immediately removed from the team. While myself and Jeff sold nothing and made nothing as verified through investigation and the blockchain.
Jeff.
All right, so all the memes Logan's saying about the blockchain, because I just find crypto and the blockchain in general to be kind of cringy. Let me break this down. I don't think Coffeezilla's intention was to get Logan Paul locked up for a Bernie Madoff, Sam Bankman-Fried level financial scheme and fraud and dishing and dashing and all that stuff. I don't think his attempt was to do really anything except for kind of just point out that Logan mishandled this every single step of the way and kind of call for some accountability. And obviously a lot of people lost a lot of money. And, Logan Paul's not going to declare bankruptcy to help get these people back their money, obviously. But I think the, Cuban Missile Crisis escalation of arms from Logan Paul either not doing any due diligence, not paying attention, and kind of just being the face of something really bad, to Steven calling for accountability, to then Coffeezilla trying to sue him for defamation, which would never hold up in any court. It seems like your typical, apology response that is really kind of a defending of yourself that kind of makes it worse. I feel like Logan could have just been like, I quite honestly think if Logan's response to this was not coming at Coffeezilla, if he said his initial point, which is, I wasn't super involved in this, my team handled it, mistakes were made, people lost a lot of money, and even if he lied about this part and said, but we're still working to turn this into what we had originally promised. We have an updated timeline. Obviously, there's been setbacks because of some bad actors, but I wholeheartedly believe that people will get what we promised, and then actually worked. Like, even if he lied about them, like behind the scenes working on this, and then just started working on it right then and there, as long as he actually kind of came through or followed through with a little bit of that, I think he probably could have escaped this completely fine, right? Because the internet forgets so quickly, right? The internet forgets so quickly. So, and not to be like a PR manager for people who do bad stuff, but generally if someone comes at you for doing something, the general best practice, not ethically or morally, but for a business sense, is kind of just like, you know, soft apologize, deny a little bit, and then go on vacation. If that's kind of what happened, I think Logan would have been far better off. But now there's all these videos from the big creators, the Moist Criticals, the, you know, everyone, like, right, is talking about how much of an idiot Logan is. And this is kind of a repeat of when he did that thing in Japan, right? This is kind of an easily avoided blunder that he kind of just put fuel on and let burn out of control. And I think he's really going to regret this video. But yeah, this is a long video already. I got work to do, so I'll see you guys later.